Nice one, Tim. Well, qualifying for race 1 was held yesterday, and this is how it all stacked up. Championship points start here with 1 point awarded for pole position, and that goes straight to Colin Turkington, who's bagged the top spot in his first ever outing for Vauxhall. He's out-qualified teammate Muller, which will surely be painful for the Frenchman. Sandwiched between the two on grid number 2 is Matt Neal. Fellow Integra driver Dan Eves is on 4. Then we have Rob Collard on 5, Jason Plato on 6. Behind them, James Kay and Luke Himes. 9 and 10 is Gavin Smith and James Pickford. Richard Williams and Mark Proctor there at the back. Off we go then with the start of a brand new season. Commentary from Tim Harvey and Ben Edwards.
Round 1 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship, all set to get underway here at Donington Park. It's Turkington versus Matt Neal on the front row of the grid. We're just waiting for the lights to come on, and who is going to get the edge? Away we go, and it's a good start from Ivan Muller from the second row, and Muller squeezes right through the middle. What a fantastic start by the Frenchman. He takes the lead. We've got problems for James Pickford. Pickford has been left behind and has not got away. He's obviously got some sort of clutch problem or gearbox problem. Plato being squeezed out. What a start from Ivan Muller. Colin Turkington in second, Matt Neal in third, and trying to take fourth is the MG of Rob Collard. Watch out for Collard through the Craner curves. That's where it can be slippery, but Muller has stormed away. Collard into fourth, but he's made contact with Eves. Eves and Collard side by side, rubbing door handles, and Collard loses out.
Oh, and James Kay's been turned into a spin. Hopefully no one collects him. Well, that could have been very dangerous to stay out of the gravel, James. Oh, and there's more contact, and that's Matt Neal and Turkington for second place. This is letting Muller get away. He's fantastic on cold tyres anyway, and got a brilliant start, slotting straight through the middle of the two front row men.
Yeah, really good stuff from Ivan Muller. And now look at Matt Neal up into second place. Colin Turkington, the pole sitter, now finds himself down in third, and behind them there's a good battle going on too, as Jason Plato tries to get down the inside of Dan Eves. Plato slots the Seat past the Honda Integra, and through the chicane they come, kicking up the dirt already, trying to shortcut the chicane as much as possible, and Plato now has moved up to fourth.
Here we are on board with Collard, the third of this three-car group. You see Plato's defending on the right. Eves is still looking. Rob's staying out wide to get a good run. Can he cut inside and get the overlap? Well, Eves has already got a little overlap, and look how slow the Seat is with that little bit of extra weight. Collard's alongside. Well, Plato's going to lose 2 places in one go.
That was amazing, because Plato really lost out hugely there. Collard hasn't given up on getting past Dan Eves. But let's just remind you that the Plato Seat is running heavier than it did at the end of last year. They're back to a more heavyweight car because the rules dictate that, and you can see the penalty. Now Collard, though, in the MG, has left the door open. Don't do that with Plato around, because Plato will be straight up the inside. In fact, I think Collard can cover it, but he nearly lost the place again. And there into the pits, I'm afraid, is the Lexus. We know and are expecting really some new car problems to arise with this, but a very brave effort from the HPI Racing Friends United team, putting a lot of effort into that. Just over 9 laps completed in the first round of the touring cars from Donington Park, and Ivan Muller, who ran away in the early stages, is now beginning to come under a little bit of pressure from second place man Matt Neal. And just look how much that gap has reduced. It was 1.3 seconds last time around from 2 seconds a lap or so before that, and we'll check the gap again as they come across, but Matt Neal is flying. 1.3 it says on his pit board, now it's 1.0, and Matt Neal is still closing.
That's it now. Matt's in sniffing distance at the back of that car. This is what a driver loves to see. Loves to see that gap coming down. This will pull out the racer in Matt Neal. He'll be inching his way up to that bumper and loving it. And there's Mike Nicholson looking very concerned. A few more creases on that face. Let's see if Muller looks in the mirror. Yes, he's looking in the mirror already now. That's a surefire sign that he's under pressure. A lot of looking in the mirrors.
Yeah,
and even a bead of sweat.
Oh, and into the pits also is James Kay in the Synchro Motorsport Honda. That's a disappointment for that enthusiastic and hard-working team. But look how close Matt Neal is now to the back of Ivan Muller's Vauxhall. This race is certainly not over yet.
We all know, racing drivers know, Matt Neal is the one man who is going to attack. He's not going to sit there. He will not take second place if there is a chance he can go for the win. And Muller knows that, so he's defending already. Matt will be looking for any opportunity to have a go, and he will.
So, into the old hairpin. He doesn't try it just there. That was when James Thompson gave him a little knock in the first race here at Donington, the last meeting last year. But he gets through there safely. Ivan Muller takes a slightly wider line as they approach McLean's. Again, no space for Matt Neal. This is the view from Ivan Muller's car. The road ahead is clear, but will it stay that way? Or will Matt Neal find a way past? Ivan controls the road. He can place his car wherever he wants and make it as hard as possible for Matt Neal. And you can see Ivan beginning to move to the inside here as they head down to one of the major overtaking spots at Donington. It's the chicane. Will he be brave enough to go around the outside? It is possible, but it's dangerous. And Matt Neal slots in behind, follows him through, and we're going on to the final lap of the first race.
Well, we've got a good exit. Both cars got a good exit here. He's getting a little bit of a tow, but Muller's defending down the inside. Matt will try and force him to stay on the inside. Matt hasn't managed to come out wide and get a better exit, but he'll certainly be on his boot lid all the way down the Craners. And I think really the chicane at the end of that is his best chance.
How encouraging is this, that two new cars are so evenly matched in the first race of the year, not carrying ballast, and there's nothing to choose between them at all, as Ivan Muller just locks that brake slightly again coming into the old hairpin. Matt Neal can't take advantage of it though. He needs to carry a little bit more speed. It's not quite there for him, and he will hound Ivan Muller, but Muller does not normally... Oh! He's gone wide and Matt Neal's through! Matt Neal's taken the lead. Where did that come from? Ivan Muller didn't expect it. He left the door open and Matt Neal is through.
Well, Ivan Muller will be absolutely kicking himself. He must have thought he had enough of a gap not to defend, and Matt just kept his foot on the throttle for long enough to just drive up the inside. A brilliant pass. Maybe Muller was expecting it to come here at the chicane. I certainly was, and he just got caught napping. A brilliant pass.
So Matt Neal has worked hard. He's hounded the race lead. He's caught him and he's passed him on the last lap. And it's Matt Neal who takes the first win of 2005. Fantastic for the Team Halfords entry. Look at this one. Jason Plato still battling with Luke Hines and Gavin Smith. Gavin Smith in the third of the Vauxhalls, trying to nip through at the end there, but he can't quite do it. Plato finishes in 6th place, Hines in 7th, Smith in 8th. Riding with Ivan. Why did he leave the door open there? He thought he had enough of an advantage, I suppose.
I think he had a good run out of we'll look at it now, and here we are coming up through Starkey's on the approach to McLean's, and he takes a wide line, and Matt just keeps his foot on the throttle, and by the time Muller's realised it, Matt's alongside him. There's no hint of contact. It was just a perfect overtake. Here we go. Look at that. That's a great shot. A late lunge. Foot still on you can see the difference in the brake lights coming on much later. Absolutely perfect.
Reception from the team. They've all worked so hard this winter on this brand new car. They just had the one car ready a couple of weeks ago for the test day, and here we are. He's taken the first win. So Matt Neal, the winner. 2nd place, Ivan Muller. Dan Eves in 3rd, with Rob Collard in 4th, just off the podium, but I think that's his best ever result. A 5th overall is his previous best, so well done to Rob Collard. Colin Turkington in 5th, ahead of Plato, Hines, Smith, Pickford and Mark Proctor. Our first race result of the season, and well, we're looking forward to hearing more from the guys in a little while. 16 laps of the 1.9 mile Donington Park circuit coming up for round 2 of the British Touring Cars. Matt Neal versus Ivan Muller on the front row of the grid, with Dan Eves and Rob Collard on row number 2, and then it's Colin Turkington and Jason Plato on row number 3. The second start of the day. We're waiting now. The lights are on, and it's a very quick change as they go out. And a good start from Rob Collard from the 2nd row, although the gap is closed in front of him, and it's Ivan Muller who again gets off the line extremely well. Oh, Collard squeezing into 2nd place there. Collard into 2nd. Matt Neal's dropped down to 3rd, and behind him there's a good battle between Colin Turkington and Dan Eves as they come through Redgate. It's Ivan Muller with the early advantage. Look at Plato. Plato on the inside in the Sayano. He's hit Turkington, I think, and off goes the Vauxhall. Colin Turkington is on the grass. Can he keep it off the tyres? Oh, he's skating on the grass, but then there will be damage to the suspension as as well as to the front bumper, and Turkington in big, big trouble in the early stages.
Well, that was nearly a huge accident there. Fortunately, Turkington didn't hit anything, but clearly his race is ruined with the front splitter destroyed. But another great start by Muller and Collard. Matt Neal's car was just moving a fraction of the start, and then it bogged down. Muller got the traction right, and a very strong start from Collard, of course, in a slightly lighter car. So let's see what a fired-up Rob Collard can do.
Well, look at Ivan Muller. He's having to defend already. Rob Collard is moving to the outside. What a chance this is for Rob Collard. Could he take his first ever win, outright win that is, in touring cars? Right behind the master, the Frenchman Muller, with third place still Matt Neal. Fourth place for Jason Plato. Good first lap there for Plato, although there was that contact with Colin Turkington, and that will be looked at closely by the clerk to see whether there are any misdemeanors there, and of course new penalties involved this year. But just concentrate here on the battle for the lead. You're riding with second place man Colin Turkington in the MG. He's got a chance. There is Turkington. Look at the damage to the front end of that car, and he's limping around. Matt Neal's gone for the inside. Matt Neal trying to take second place. He's almost alongside as they come through Redgate corner. And Collard there caught out a little bit like Muller was in race one, but Collard has the inside line for the Craner curves. Matt Neal will be on the dirty side of the track here. That's going to be tricky. Now he'll have the inside line into the old hairpin. Oh, and finally he completes the move.
Great side-by-side racing, and a lot of respect shown for each driver there, because they didn't want a repeat of that incident on the first lap, but certainly they were giving each other just enough room. But Matt Neal back on a charge.
Well, let's take a look at the replay, Tim. Work out what was going on here, Plato and Turkington.
Well, Turkington's moving across to the right to take his line for the top of the Craners, and Plato's got a little partial overlap, and they touched. I would have to put that down to a racing incident.
There, unfortunately, is Colin Turkington's car being pushed back into the garage. Race over for the young Northern Irishman. Look at the battle for fourth. Dan Eaves down the inside, and Eaves has got past Plato. Very easy that looked.
That looked very easy. Plato didn't defend at all, and I can't understand why, unless Plato's trying to play a strategic game. Let's not forget the third race does feature the reverse grid.
Matt Neal's just set the new fastest lap in this race, 1:13.752. So again, Matt Neal closing up slightly to our race leader. The gap between them, 0.6 of a second. Rob Collard really driving with his head today. He's not taking any undue risks. That's the way it looks anyway at the moment. He wants to score points. He wants to be on the podium. He's never achieved that in touring cars in outright terms. And here we are riding on board with him, ex-hot rod racer, who's battled his way, as you say, Tim, through the ranks, really, hasn't he? He's come up through the one-make Formula E, and then running a production car, and then running a touring car as his own family-run team. Not an easy task, but now he's in a fantastic position here.
It's very hard to see much difference between the cars at this moment, but of course we saw in the first race the tyre degradation over the length of the 16 laps could mean that as we go through the race there will be a difference in performance. But I think that Collard is quite happy to sit in third place and let Matt tow him up to the back of Muller and then take advantage of any opportunity. Here comes Gavin Smith. He was unfortunate in the first race where the rear track on the car got misaligned, and he got a good run through the chicane there, but he'll have to go the long way round to get past. But he's looking for a good result, and the front three are now running right together.
Let's just see what happened a moment ago. We've got a replay of what happened between Mark Proctor and Richard Williams down the Craner curves a second ago. Proctor got it all a bit wrong, went off on the grass. Well, I don't
actually think there was any contact there. He looked like he had some kind of mechanical problem and just couldn't turn left.
Here comes Collard, still keeping the pressure on. The man who won the Independence Championship back in 2003, took 5 class wins that season, with a 5th place overall at Rockingham, which was his highlight in terms of up against all of the others. But Independence Champion was what he was aiming for that year. Last year wasn't quite so good. He was 6th independent class. Had a lot of problems with his car last year. Got a bit frustrating, but here he is in the MG, thoroughly enjoying the relationship with Dick Bennett, the boss there at WSR, and learning all the time from them. And they're keen on him too. They like to see a racer in their cars, and here is a racer. Collard's gone for a 2nd place. He's down the inside. rubbing wheel arches as they come through. There's a car going slowly on the inside there, but it's not going to affect them. James Kay limping round, but Collard into second, or is he? Because Matt Neal still got the inside line through the crane as they're still side by side. Oh, Collard with a good speed through the second section there, and surely now he's retaken second place. Can he now slipstream past the Vauxhall as they head down towards the chicane, looking to try and get down the inside? Muller's not going to leave him room there. His only hope is to go around the outside, but that's risky, and he slots in behind. Collard, I think, is going to have to settle for second. He's pushing Muller almost as they come out of the final corner, but it's the Frenchman, Yvan Muller, who holds on to take the first ever win for the Vauxhall Astra Sport Hatch on its debut. Pickford's just got past Luke Hines. James Pickford has just gained a position on Luke Hines, but I wonder if Luke Hines not being canny there, because he knows that will gain him a place on the grid for race number 3, and it could well be that he did that on purpose, but good run from Pickford nonetheless. Muller wins, Collard second, Matt Neal third.
Great race by Van Muller. He got another perfect start, carried the weight of his car very well, didn't make a mistake this time, having a well-earned drink there from his drinks tube, and a very good race. But great to see Rob Collard so competitive and up there. He must be loving this. And Matt Neal, of course, still struggling with the extra weight, but a good third position.
So, the second race of the day here at Donington Park, won by Yvan Muller, with Rob Collard as close in second place as he could be. Matt Neal in third, ahead of his own teammate Dan Eaves. Jason Plato held on to fifth, ahead of Gavin Smith. James Pickford snatched seventh on the line from Luke Hines, with Richard Williams finishing in ninth. Poor Mark Proctor finishing the race in the pits.
So winning race 2 is Yvan Muller, but with me now is Colin Turkington, who didn't have quite such a lucky race. What happened there, Colin?
Yeah, it all ended up in tears for me on the first lap halfway through. Just had a bit of contact with Jason Plato down to the Craner curve, so it was quite a big moment for me, as you can see.
Well, we started 5th, and then you got to here, and then what happened?
Yeah, it's Jason just didn't give me a lot of racing room there, and he's just tagged the right rear of my car, and it was quite a bit of high-speed contact. And when it went over the grass, it's ripped the front splitter off and the radiator, so couldn't continue.
So what are the boys doing now? They're just a normal maintenance repair job.
Yeah, it's not really too bad. It's just the splitter and the radiator, but it's those sort of things you can't continue. So the guys will get that sorted out, and be fighting back for the next race.
And how are you settling in with the car and the team overall?
No, it's been great. I've been really enjoying my time at Vauxhall so far. I was in pole position yesterday, so we're getting the speed out of the car. I just need a bit of consistency now. Lovely.
Thank you very much, Colin. Thanks.
So the points after the first 2 races of the touring cars, Yvan Muller has a 4-point advantage over Matt Neal. Rob Collard is third, ahead of Dan Eaves, who's got a 7-point advantage over Jason Plato, who'll be a little disappointed with that. Gavin Smith on 8 points. Luke Hines and Colin Turkington both on 7, but Turkington, who scored the first pole position, he'll be a bit down about that. James Pickford's on 6 points, and Richard Williams has scored already in his debut in touring cars. He's on 2 points.
We'll be live with race 3 very shortly, but in the meantime, I'm just going to have a quick word with some of the drivers. Just to remind you, we've got a reverse grid system going on for race 3. Yvan Muller won race 2. He starts on the back of the grid for race 3. Yvan, 4 points clear in the championship, a win in a second. Not a bad start to the season in a brand new car.
Yeah, for sure, it's a good start of the season. But I am well placed to know the season is long and every point is important.
Who do you think is your biggest rival?
Well, at the moment, it looks like McNeil because we are close on points. But I'm sure it will be some other driver in the future. But at the moment, it looks like Matt Neal.
Cool. Good luck. Thanks very much, Yvan. And let us go to Matt Neal, who qualifies 2 places ahead. Matt has also had a win today, and he again is in a brand new car. Matt, you're having quite a good day so far.
That's great, isn't it? Having a nice time.
How competitive do you think this car is, and how competitive can it be throughout the season?
I think the one thing we've struggled with today was the ambient temperature so low, getting the heat into the tyres in the first half of the race, or the first third of the race. So as we go along into the summer and the temperature gets warmer, hopefully that will play into our hands more. And hopefully this third race, the ambient's gone up a lot, so it might help us.
Cool. All right, then. Thank you very much, Matt. Have a good one and a quick chat with Jason Plato. Woo-hoo-hoo. Jason, Jace, you've not had the best day so far, have you?
I suppose the simple answer to that question is no, we haven't had the best day. No, we haven't had a very good day. You know, it's a controversial thing to talk about, but the equalisation between the European spec cars and the British spec cars, from where I'm sat, there is no equalisation, and that's wrong. You know, we may as well drive around with our hands tied behind the back. The cars are not the same. The BTCC car is a lot quicker over a lap, and yet we're the same weight. It's not on.
Lovely. Thanks a lot, Jason. Not a happy Jason there. Join us after the break for Race 3 Live. So we've already seen Matt Neal take a victory in Race 1 and Ivan Muller in Race 2. Who will take top honours in Race 3? Time for commentary from Tim and Ben.
The cars are off on their green flag lap, being led around by Richard Williams in that brand new Lexus. What an opportunity it is for him. He must be feeling pretty nervous, though, I should think, as he leads some of the top touring car drivers in the world down through the Craner curves. Let's take a look at the lineup then. It's Richard Williams who starts from pole position. Alongside him is Luke Hines, a proven race winner in touring cars when he was driving for Vauxhall last year. On the second row of the grid, it's another of the Seat Sport UK entries, James Pickford, the winner of the Seat Cupra Championship last year. Alongside him is one of his great rivals from the Seat series, is a Vauxhall driver now, and that's Gavin Smith, and he's been very smooth and consistent so far today. Third row of the grid, we've got Jason Plato. Disappointed that the Seats have got to carry more weight than they were carrying at the end of last year. He feels it's really hurting their attempts to win today. Dan Eves is alongside him. He's been quick all afternoon. Then behind those two, we've got Matt Neal, who won the race earlier on today. Looks in great shape with that car, but Rob Collard has been consistent. Look at those cars, though, carrying ballast. Not only is the grid reversed, we've also got them carrying ballast, so it will be harder for them to make their way through. Ivan Muller, winner of the last race, he gets maximum ballast. It's 45 kilos. We've got a new privateer alongside him, Mark Proctor, who's had all sorts of dramas this weekend, but it's great to see him out there. And then at the back, it's Colin Turkington, the young Irishman, who's had dramas today after setting pole position for race 1, and James Kay, who's now the veteran of the field at 41 years of age. He's had dramas with his car, but I think, again, he's been showing good pace, and we could expect to see him making his way inside the top 10 and perhaps even a possible podium finish by the end of it. Through the chicane they come, and they're going to be taking their positions on the grid. And what's going on here? Richard Williams is pulling off. Richard Williams in the Lexus. He should be starting from pole, but he's going into the pit lane. Can you believe it? This new team, HPI Racing, with Friends Reunited. It looked like their big opportunity, but Timmy's in the pit lane.
Well, they've had a lot of little niggles with the car. Maybe he felt there was something he wasn't quite happy with on that outlap, and he's decided to take the safer option and go to the pit lane. But it does present Luke Hines with a great opportunity. But I can't help remembering last time Luke Hines was on the front row, he flubbed his start.
Well, as you say, what an opportunity this is for Luke Hines, the 22-year-old from Essex. Will he be able to get the Seat off the line? Clear space in front of James Pickford as well. It looks like a Seat benefit now, doesn't it? Because you can see Plato there as well. The yellow and silver colours of the Seat, and the Vauxhall of Gavin Smith is tucked in there somewhere. And we've also got Turkington at the back, Muller near the back. Who's it going to be? The red lights are on. The red lights go out. Round 3 gets underway. Good start from Gavin Smith and from Jason Plato. So Gavin Smith on the right-hand side as we look at it. He's in the Vauxhall. Jason Plato is on the inside. I think he's going to try and take second. Rob Collard coming around the outside in the MG. Oh, and a big slide there. Almost off, and off goes Luke Hines. Almost thought he was going to catch it for a moment, but Luke Hines is off as they come through Redgate Corner, and problems for him. So as they come down the hill, it is good stuff for the MG. It's good for Plato. Plato in front remarkably. How has he done that from the third row?
Plato, always a really good starter. He lined his car up slightly to the side of the Seat in front of him, and he got it perfect. Oh, and James Kay's off. Disastrous day for him, but a great start for Plato. He's got himself up front, and from nowhere shot up Collard, Rob Collard. Another brilliant start round the outside.
Well, it's all happening already, and here comes Ivan Muller already beginning to pick them off. Dan Eves in the Team Alfred's orange car there. Colin Turkington trying to come through as well. Gavin Smith was the one that lost out a little bit because he had made a good start, but he's dropped to 3rd place, and Plato now under pressure from Rob Collard. Collard with the green stripe down the centre of his MG. What an opportunity it is. He's had his best ever result with a 2nd place finish earlier on. Now he wants to go one better. He wants to take the race victory, but Jason Plato's one of the toughest men to pass in touring car racing. Into Redgate corner, Plato holds the slightly inside line. Collard follows him through, and Gavin Smith knows he has a tremendous opportunity here to show what he can do. The youngster, new to touring cars, can he do anything? Plato's controlling it.
Rob Collard's going to be a little bit more patient, I think. He's suddenly realised he's got a good car underneath him this weekend. I spoke to him between races. He knows he can be patient. Here is he, a bird's eye view from Rob Collard's car, and he knows he can let the races come to him. He hasn't got to overdrive. What a perfect opportunity. His car is definitely faster than Plato's.
Yeah, he's driving, as you say, very much within himself. He's not overstretching. He doesn't seem to be, hopefully I don't speak too soon, he doesn't seem to be making those little mistakes that's so easy to make when you're pushing too hard. He's driving within himself, just slightly over the curb, but it's smooth, it's controlled. There's Gavin Smith. I'm impressed with him so far. He's not done any silly errors, and the team are impressed too. He's been consistent. He hasn't made any lunges or silly mistakes, and that's good for a novice. He's following them through. He's in a strong 3rd place. Now, let's just think about what Rob Collard has to do here. He's moving to the outside because Plato covers the inside, and that's, I'm sure, what we'll see as a pattern here as Plato tries to defend his position. Behind these three, Matt Neal is running in 4th place. So Matt Neal, whose car always seems to come good as we get some tyre temperature, as we've done a couple of laps. Now look, Matt Neal in the orange car, definitely closing on 3rd place man Gavin Smith, as Rob Collard continues to shadow Plato.
Well, we've got 4 different makes of car in the top 4 positions, and shuffling the pack around, well, it didn't take them long to sort themselves out, did it? But now we've got a great racing prospect here. Plato is a master at driving defensive races. Oh, and a look up the inside. Look up the inside. That's Matt Neal with that same move that he made on the very first race to pass Muller, and that looks like
Muller
taking advantage as well.
Yeah, Ivan Muller's taken advantage, as you say. So as Matt Neal dived up the inside, Muller said, yep, okay, let's go. Got past his teammate, and let's go on board with Matt Neal. So he's moved up into that position now. He's only got the 2 leaders ahead of him, Plato and Rob Collard, who are going side by side into the chicane. Matt Neal is the danger man in the orange car. Bit of a lock-up from Gavin Smith there behind Ivan Muller in the Vauxhall. He got away with it, I think, as Rob Collard continues to attack, continues to push, and Matt Neal trying to close up the gap. Ivan Muller was very fast on that last lap though, and Ivan Muller's catching Matt Neal too. This is going to become a 4-way battle for the lead any moment now, but if anybody can hold a queue of cars behind him, it's Jason Plato.
We've seen him do it before, and in the back, this is a great on-board shot from Rob Collard's car, but further back, Dan Eves took advantage of that situation and got past Gavin Smith as well, so both the Dynamics cars were on a charge.
Yeah, keep an eye on them. They've both been going one of the latter stages of the race. We're only on lap number 4 so far. Long way to go in this race as yet. And there's Matt Neal. Matt Neal lunges up the inside of Rob Collard. There's a slight contact, but he's in position now. He's got the inside line into Coppice, and Matt Neal goes into 2nd place. He's aggressive, he's hard, but I think he's fair, Tim.
That was perfectly fair. He got the car equally alongside. He didn't tap the rear. He got the car alongside. They rubbed a little bit, but he's got a new favourite overtaking place, hasn't he?
That worked so well for Matt Neal. Now, though, he's got to try and catch Jason Plato. Collard stays in 3rd. Watch out for Ivan Muller. Ivan Muller in the Vauxhall now, looking to move on Rob Collard. They had a good little dice earlier on. Now, let's see whether Collard can fend off the Frenchman, but Muller goes for it, going down the inside. Oh, that's tight, so tight. He's got to be careful because Dan Eves is immediately behind him in the 2nd of the Team Halford's car. Down to the Craner curves, we're on board with Ivan Muller in this brand new Vauxhall Astra Sport Hatch, new to the circuit. It's only just been launched on the road today, and well, you wouldn't want to drive your road car like Ivan Muller drives his racing car, but he's getting the performance out of it.
Certainly is. New cars in this championship. That car, the Honda Integra Type R and the Astra Sport Hatch, providing great entertainment, and the old stage is the Seats now, and the MG and Rob Collard. Oh, and Gavin Smith wide. He'll pick up dirt on his tyres, but providing great entertainment. Now we've got 6 cars up the front.
Yeah, the rallycross line, I think, mistake we saw there from Gavin Smith, but he kept his foot in, and the car is back on circuit safely. Look how this lead group is just getting closer and closer together. Plato in the yellow and silver Seat leads this race, but Matt Neal is so close. Collard's there, Muller's there, so is Dan Eaves. This could go any way at all. And up to now today, it's been fairly clean. We've seen a little bit of door handle rubbing, but nothing too severe. Perhaps the gloves are coming off now because it's getting serious for the third race. Plato keeps it very tight, and Matt Neal is forced to just follow it through. Muller though, Muller and Collard, look at this, side by side, almost on the grass there, Muller. He is on the grass for a moment, and Dan Eaves is trying to get past both of them, down the grainer curves. Muller's on the rough stuff on the outside, Collard's got the grip. Muller now trying to squeeze through into the old hairpin, and Eaves will take advantage if he's not careful. Eaves is going to take the place as well.
Great timing there by Dan Eaves and Ivan Muller to open that gap up, and certainly it was a good move. We've seen some side-by-side racing.
Oh, the leaders!
Look,
the leaders!
There's Matt Neal going for his favourite overtaking place. Muller wants to pounce on his old rival Plato, but Neal's going to take the lead.
So Plato's gone from first to third to fourth. He's gone to fourth because Dan Eaves has gone through as well. Matt Neal is race leader. Ivan Muller's up to second place. It's all gone wrong for Jason Plato because Matt Neal is as aggressive as we've seen him. He's charging through. And now look at Dan Eaves in the second of the orange cars. He's got Plato. He's lost another place because here comes Collard. Or does he? Plato's using the grass now to try and hold on, but he can't do it.
Plato is going to be livid. He's fought the brave fight to the front, but there's just no way he can hold off. And look at this, Muller and Matt Neal have been side by side all day today with a victory apiece. Now it's going to be down to who's got the best chance. Matt Neal's got to show that he can defend as well as Muller can.
Well, Muller was on the grass. He's got a new line at Redgate. He seemed to have two wheels on the grass at the apex. Perhaps that's the way to go. He's got a bit of, well, just a lock up there as he turns into old hairpin. That's okay. But, this is pretty exciting stuff. You know, Vauxhall have been a bit nervous. This new car, haven't quite know what's going to happen with it, but it's the same for everybody. And Muller is finding that he can race really hard with it, and he's keeping the pressure on Matt Neal. The two race winners from today so far, but which one's going to come out on top this time? We're on board with Ivan Muller. He's chasing. He's in second, but Matt Neal is only a length or so ahead.
Well, Matt Neal's lost his left-hand mirror, and Ivan Muller's lost his right-hand mirror, so they've both got restricted vision, so we can see which way the passes are going to come. But so far, Matt is holding it together. He's got slightly less weight in the car than he did in the second race. Just maybe he can hold on.
Jason Plato currently running in fifth place. Behind him it's Gavin Smith and James Pickford. You saw him come through in the other Seat there. We lost, well, Luke Hines is still going, but he's right at the back. And the Seat crew, well, not too happy about the way things are going here at the moment. They'll be making representations to Alan Gow for a bit of relaxation on the weight penalties and hoping that they'll be able to push harder for equality. But that's the way they've got to play it. For the moment, it's the Team Halford's Honda Integra leading from the VXR Astra of Ivan Muller. Then it's the second Honda of Dan Eaves. And in fourth place, it's Rob Collard in the MG. But here we are. I wonder just how much this man, Ivan Muller, wants revenge for that earlier race when Matt Neal, the guy in front of him, snatched victory on the last lap. Can he get that revenge here?
Well, ironically, the positions they are now, the top four positions are as they finished that race one. But of course, the tyre life, they've been working all afternoon to improve the cars over the race. And really, it's going to be the last 5 laps that are going to decide who's got the best car.
I tell you what, fastest lap's gone to Dan Eaves, who's the third car of the train coming down here. Here it comes Dan Eaves with fastest lap. He's now going for second. He's gone past Ivan Muller. It's a 1-2 for Team Halford, but for how long? Here comes Muller back at him, and Muller now trying to put the pressure on him as they come towards Redgate. But these cars are working very well indeed, and Muller's got his work cut out here, side by side into Redgate. Eaves has the advantage. Muller can't do anything about it. He has to settle for third, and if he's not careful, Rob Collard's going to have it.
Fantastic move. That is not easy to outbrake Ivan Muller. The Vauxhall very good on the brakes, but well, we've got a great race of prospect.
Through the old hairpin they come then, up the hill and under the bridge once again. On board with Rob Collard and Ivan Muller just ahead. I wonder if Ivan's beginning to struggle as he did in the first 2 races in the closing stages. We're about half distance at the moment. But I wonder whether, as we go through the second half of this race, the Vauxhalls will struggle. Turkington hasn't done much. That surprises me, you know. Colin Turkington's down in 8th place, hasn't really made a great deal of progress. And I wonder what little signals are going on here between Ivan Muller and Rob Collard. In the background you can see Jason Plato still trying to defend from Gavin Smith. Oh, and Collard almost hitting him as he went through. Plato still just fending off Gavin Smith as they come through the chicane, and then right behind him is James Pickford as well.
Plato spent all race defending the back end of that Seat, and that is no fun for a driver. It really is horrible. A driver likes to be going forwards, not defending the back, and you can really only do that if you're quick on the straights. It doesn't matter how good your car is round the corner. If you're slow on the straights, you'll spend the whole race actually defending, never mind what the lap times are.
That's right. Remember, in a way, although all the cars are the same, they're built to slightly different regulations. The Seats are in one group, if you like, and the Vauxhalls and Hondas are in another group, and that's what Jason's complaining about. He says they're not equal at the moment. Well, he's going to have to make those representations, the team is, to see if they can even things up a little bit as we go through this year, but maybe it's just Donington that's not working for them. The leaders come through, Matt Neal and then Dan Eves. Ivan Muller still holding on to third from Rob Collard, and then the Seats all being together pretty much now with Jason Plato at the front of that group, then Gavin Smith in another of the Vauxhalls, followed by James Pickford. Colin Turkington's back there as well. What a display it is from Matt Neal and Dan Eves, and here we are on board with Matt Neal. I wonder how he's feeling at the moment. They had no idea how well this car would perform before this weekend.
Well, you have to take your hat off to Team Dynamics, Team Halford. They've done a fantastic job over the winter. They built this new car. A lot of the equipment, there's Steve Neal on the pit wall, Alex, who's Matt's engineer, they're looking very anxious, almost as anxious as they did when they were about to win £250,000, but maybe not quite. I'm sure this double 1-2, if they can pull it off, will be a great boost for them. They've worked very hard. They're not a factory team, it's not a Honda Works team, and they're beating the mighty Seat and Vauxhall.
Yeah, it's well, if they stay where they are, it would be a remarkable achievement, but we've still got a few laps to go in this race, and as we've seen today, pretty much anything can happen. Good effort still here from Gavin Smith, who's the meat in the Seat sandwich there in another of the new Astra Sport hatches. There he is, but it's still a good debut. He hasn't put a wheel wrong. Perhaps he'll be disappointed that he lost out because he was running with a potential podium finish early on in this race. But the important thing, I think, for him is to get through this weekend without making too many mistakes. 26-year-old, there he is, raced successfully in Ireland before coming over to the UK and has raced in the British Formula 3 Championship. He's raced in the Seat Series. Good experience, but it is another step when you go to touring cars.
No question, the two Seat graduates, Gavin Smith in the Vauxhall and James Pickford in the Seat, have really excelled this weekend. They've done a very mature job. Difficult circumstances, they're learning just how rough and tough it is in touring cars. They're up against the very best, and there's Smith, and he's going to get past. He's going to get past Plato, surely.
That was a good move, and I thought for a moment he might lose the place to Pickford, but instead he actually got past Plato. Oh, Plato will be gutted by that. He won't want to see effectively the third driver from Vauxhall getting past him in the race. But Gavin Smith did a great move, good overtaking, and he's now gone into 5th place. Jason Plato has been demoted to 6th. Behind him is still James Pickford backing him up, and of course James Pickford has effectively taken over the drive that Rob Huff had last year. He won the similar championship that Rob had won the previous season, so he's taken over that role at Seat. And of course we've got Luke Hines, he's at the back with Colin Turkington. Now, just looking at the two leaders, you can see that Dan Eves, who set the fastest lap on lap number 4, currently second, is definitely closing on Matt Neal.
Well, it'd be a real feather in his cap if he could beat team leader and established superstar Matt Neal. But maybe that would upset Father Steve. I'm not quite sure about that one. I mean, the sensible thing is obviously not to risk any kind of incident or contact. And Matt is going to drive a tiny line knowing that Dan isn't going to do it. But clearly Dan has got a very quick car.
Yeah, that car's working very, very effectively. He's had one win in touring cars. That came at Alton Park last year. He's a former Independence champion, as of course is Matt Neal, former 4 times Independence champion. They're a good team. They work well together. They have slightly different driving styles, but it always feels like a very friendly atmosphere within this team. Tim, there doesn't seem to be much aggro between them. They work well.
They do work well, and that's why they're still driving together. It is a family-run team, and that atmosphere is very important. Of course, it could all go wrong, and it could be very disastrous. But I think that they're both sensible enough, they're both seasoned campaigners, and I'm sure they're going to stick to the plan that the team will have. They've got radios, the team can tell them what to do, but Ivan is catching them a little bit, but I think Dan just wants to show that he's got a fast car and what he can do.
On board with Ivan Muller, what can he do? Can he find just a bit more pace out of this brand new Vauxhall Astra Sport hatch? It's already got one race victory under its belt. They have had some concerns about reliability, but in fact, they've all been good. Here comes Dan Eves, has a little think about it, a little look, but to pass your teammate cleanly, you have got to get it absolutely right, otherwise you'll be in big trouble. And Dan, looking for his first, not his first, but his second outright win in touring cars, would love to be able to get past Matt, but that's not going to be at all easy. So watch it closely, nice and smooth through the old hairpin. The two of them still quite a good way away from Ivan Muller in third place, and Rob Collard's dropped back a bit now in the MG, so it doesn't look as though Collard's going to challenge for another podium finish here.
No, Rob of course carrying some weight now in this race has really sort of struggled a little bit. Very strong at the start as all the cars are on fresh tyres, but then it's this last 5 laps where really that little bit of extra weight takes its toll, and it's just affected Rob Collard at the moment.
On board with Ivan, he's got those two Hondas ahead of him, but can he do anything about closing up the gap? A little flex of the arm as he comes up under the Dunlop Bridge, up to 130 miles an hour, where Dan Eves again just looks, has a think, tries to put his teammate under a bit more pressure than normal, but Matt's used to absorbing the pressure, soaking it up. It doesn't seem to affect him across the line. 14 laps have been completed, 2 laps remain, and Matt Neal, for now, is still in control. Dan Eves, though, still the fastest man early on in this race, and, well, you know, he won't need half a gap. As long as there's a half gap and he feels he can do it cleanly, I'm sure he'll go for it.
Well, Matt had to defend there quite hard the first time we've really seen that, so maybe there are no team orders. As you say, both these drivers work well together, but they actually set the cars up completely different. Their driving styles really aren't the same. But look at the result. The result is that they both driving at very quick speed, and they both got a good car. But they don't like each other's setups, and they go their own way. They have their own engineers, and it's tribute to Dynamics that they can run the two cars differently and get the same result.
Well, Dan's had to adapt to different cars every year in the last 4 years. He's been racing in touring cars. He was driving a Peugeot 406 Coupe a few years ago, then a Peugeot 307, then he was in the Honda Civic that they ran last year, and now, of course, he's in this Honda Integra Type R. He has a little look there down the inside. Careful, careful. And they both get through safely. This is to go on to the final lap. Can Dan Eves pull something out of the bag here and get past his teammate? What a team performance this is, but honour is at stake. He would love to take victory. Matt Neal's already had a win. He says it's my turn now.
Yes, I'm sure they'd love to have a win each, but he's certainly not holding back. And look how defensively Matt's having to drive. I hope this doesn't end in tears or let Muller get through, because it would be a shame to throw away this one too, but who knows?
Well, Dan's going to throw everything he has at this. The Independence champion of 2002. He was the Renault Spider champion way back in 1998. He's a very experienced campaigner, but not quite the track record of Matt Neal. It's something that he'd like to prove this year, that he can match his prestigious teammate, and he's doing so here very, very well. But no gaps, no spaces there from Matt Neal to allow Dan to nip through. Ivan Muller still in third place, and Danny's just running out of time now. We're into the final half lap, and it looks as though Matt Neal is going to take 2 wins out of the 3 races at Donington Park this weekend. He was aggressive when he needed to be. He was smooth when he needed to be. Now can he fend off his teammate at the last corner? Yes, I think he can. Matt Neal is going to have a fantastic Donington weekend by winning 2 of the opening 3 rounds of the championship. Dan Eves takes second place. What a team performance that was. Third goes to Ivan Muller, 4th to Rob Collard, 5th place goes to Gavin Smith. Good little battle still going on further back between Turkington and Luke Hines. This is all over 8th place, and they were still wheel to wheel at the line there. Well, well, well. A 1-2 for Team Halfords. Matt Neal and Dan Eves have certainly shown the other teams that these guys are going to be major contenders in 2005.
They've got reliability, they've got speed, they've got class behind the wheel. They really are championship contenders this year, and it's so good to see a new team getting up there, really contending for this championship that's been Vauxhall's for so long. We need Seat up there as well, but it showed us today we're going to have some great racing.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to the rest of it now. It's been a great opening to the championship. The evenness of pace between these Hondas, the Vauxhalls here. Ivan Muller had a race victory, couldn't quite match them on this occasion, but you know, Vauxhall have been dominant the last 4 years. They will have their work cut out this year, and I think Seat will be back. You know, this one perhaps not a great weekend for them, but I think Seat will be back in the future rounds of the championship, and that makes for some more exciting close-fought racing. There's the result then of round 3. Matt Neal, the winner by only 0.2 of a second from his teammate Dan Eves. Ivan Muller taking third ahead of Rob Collard, who had a very solid weekend. Good points scored in every round. Gavin Smith in 5th ahead of Jason Plato and James Pickford. Then Colin Turkington, Luke Hines and Mark Proctor in 10th place. Round 3 is over. We'll be back with all the interviews in a moment.
Well, there is your winner, and here is confirmation of the results from round 3. A good win there for Matt Neal, followed by teammate Dan Eves, then Ivan Muller in the Vauxhall 3rd, followed by Rob Collard, then Gavin Smith and Jason Plato. And with me here is the race winner, Matt Neal. Matt, that's absolutely brilliant. You've had a stonking weekend.
That's unbelievable, and 1-2 as well with Danny there. I mean, for Team Halfords and Honda, I mean, what can you say? Job's a good one.
You pulled some spectacular passes out of the bag, if I may say so.
Well, I thought I'd done a few good ones, and I looked back in my mirror, and he was like 6 places further back. And next thing, he's on my boot lid, keeping me honest. So I had to keep my wits about me the last couple of laps.
So how confident are you then that you will clinch the championship at the end of the season? Because you're putting in some good paces.
You're getting a bit fast, aren't you?
I am.
It's early days yet. We've done 3 races. We've got 27 to go. So 888, Seat, you know, Vauxhall, Seat, don't ever underestimate them, and Ivan, and you know, there's seriously good players in, you know, still to come.
Lovely. Now then, Dan, excellent second place. Were you having a little snifter there for first?
Yeah, I was. Well, as he said, I was keeping him honest. I was having a bit of a look. I was thinking about pulling a cheeky Scampster manoeuvre on him, but I thought it'd be better to get a Team Halfords 1-2, so I stuck to my guns and stuck behind him and did the right thing.
Brilliant. Well, thank you both very much and well done. A good weekend. OK, here we come to the championship standings. At the top there is Matt Neal on 42 points, then Ivan Muller on 40, Dan Eves on 31, Rob Collard on 29 points, Jason Plato in the Seat on 17, and Gavin Smith there for VX Racing with 14 points. And I'm now joined on the floor with my bestest boys, Ben and Tim. What do we reckon to that then? A good start to the season?
I thought it was a fantastic start to the season, really enjoyed it. I mean, the quality up front is as good as ever, and we had some great racing, and I'm just so pleased for Matt Neal and Dan Eves. They did a brilliant job today.
Yeah. Now, we've had some spectacular overtaking manoeuvres. I think we can find one here. Talk us through this one, Tim.
Well, Matt found a new overtaking place, favourite of the day, and it just gets up the inside there, puts the squeeze on Plato at McLean's, and really it's job done. And Muller follows him through once the doors open in touring cars. Anyone's going to go through, but a great pass.
And it is great for them to have a 1-2 finish, because that's good. It's a new car. They're going to learn a lot here, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a Matt Neal circuit. He loves this place. He's got an involvement here, but that's definitely the Matt Neal line now at McLean's. He works it so well, so many times today.
And do you think that they've set themselves up now for, you know, to take the fight to Vauxhall?
Yeah, they're going to challenge for the title outright. They're independents, but they're challenging for the outright title, there's no doubt.
And Gavin Smith, he was quite impressive there, wasn't he, Tim?
Yeah, I thought all the rookies did well. You know, it was great to see him sparring with his old sparring partner from the Seats, and it was a great racing. It was good to have new guys in it, good to have new cars. We need Plato up the front, please, and then we'll have some even better racing.
So marks out of 10 for today?
Oh yeah, I think a definite 8 out of 10 today. There's more to come, I'm sure, but it was a good start to the season.
Oh, great. Well, thank you very much indeed there, chaps.